the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on this Thursday morning. We're glad that you've joined us wherever it is that you tune us in and whenever it is that you tune us in. We appreciate all of you that jump on live with us and interact throughout the show, but we know some of you can't do that, and you pick us up a little bit later on in the day, at night, whatever, but we appreciate you making us part of your daily Auburn intake. We've got a lot that we want to talk about today, and we'll get your thoughts on that. Randy, good to see you this morning, and Auburn gets another number one overall seed. The golf team gets the number one overall seed going into the NCAA tournament, so not saying they're trying to copycat the basketball team, but that's two number one seeds for athletic programs here this year, and going to try to repeat as national champs. And Coach Kleinert met with the media yesterday, and we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about some new additions to this football team and kind of go through some experience levels, some of that stuff. Auburn looks like they've added another quarterback to the quarterback room and to give them four. I know that news kind of broke yesterday, but we didn't have a chance to talk about it, and we'll kind of talk some about that as well. I mean, I don't know how big a news that really is when you add a four-string quarterback, but you want to have another quarterback in the room. So we'll talk about that and a lot more. And but we'll start. We will start with golf. And again, what a great program Nick Kleinert has built at Auburn, and winning that or earning that number one seed, huge, man. And I guess we lost Randy. So I'm going to keep rolling on. But, again, I think is everybody seeing us clear? Everybody got us? We good? Are we pixelated? Just checking. Let us know in the comments. I'll keep going. But Auburn gets the number one overall seed in the tournament. They will begin the defense of their national championship on May the 12th. And they get to host and Justin said, yeah, everyone but Randy. Appreciate that. Let me know that. But yeah, Coach Kleinert met with the media yesterday. And, you know, again, come on out to AU Club. They get to host. I think I'm going to get him back. We'll see. You back now? I don't want – well, this day started outstanding for you.
It is all the power pop down here for no reason. I mean, I'm just sitting in beautiful Dale, Alabama, and trying to rip and roar through a wonderful day of work, and you sit there and everything in the building popped at one time. So this podcast was probably the least thing hurt by that power popping just then. Something's broken. Something just cost me a few $1,000s.
It's okay.
That. Yeah.
You know, we're all crazy at this point, so who cares? You just add it to the mix. Just add one more thing. And what I was saying is Auburn, the number one seed in golf, and you know, I thought they played extremely well. You heard Coach Kleinert yesterday talk about maybe going into match play, beat a great Texas team in the morning. They had to come back, play a good Florida team, and maybe we're a little gassed, but they set the record in stroke play. You know how good the teams are in the SEC, and now they refocus. And it's like he said, it's good to be the number one overall seed, but that's in the rearview mirror now. Now you got to go out and play. And Auburn, you know, with you know, Carson Baca and Brendan Valdez and Jackson Coyven and those guys that kind of led the charge last year, come back to try to help lead Auburn to another national championship this year.
Well, it's a stressful environment, you know, and it takes big shots at key moments. Auburn had those shots go their way last year to pull off that national championship run, and to have a number of those guys back, and to have as great a coach as we do. Look, this Auburn golf team takes a back seat to no program at Auburn University right now. It's the best program we have, including basketball. I mean, it's a national title contender year in and year out. The beautiful facilities in a golf-rich portion of the country. It's one of those that if you keep leaning in on, Brett,
Right.
you're going to have continued success. And I don't know about you, but a lot of people proud of that golf program that are Auburn fans in and around the area that we live in the Lake Martin region and the Auburn region. So, yeah, this is a team I think's got the best player in the country. And when you've got the best player in the country and you've got a team that's gone as far and done as well as they have over the last 2 years, high expectations.
Yeah, high expectations. Again, let's run down who will be at this regional. Again, this will be in Auburn. So, I mean, come out. I mean, they encourage you. They want to see you there. They want the support. That's part of the advantage that, Coach Kleiner talked about. There's positives and negatives to being at home. The positives far outweigh the negatives. You get to sleep in your own bed. You're familiar with your course. You know how things kind of lay out. That's why you earn a number one seed. You should have an advantage. But also maybe a little undue self-imposed pressure by the guys when you're trying to perform in front of your home crowd. You want to do well. You also have the pressure of you are at your home course, so you want to defend that that turf. It's no different than fishing, man. Like if you know anything about fishing, you ever draw out on a big tournament, it's your home lake. There's a lot of people go, well, he's going to win it. He's got an advantage. He knows where everything is, and you don't always win because it's on your home lake. People come in and they fish well and they do well. Same with golf. There's going to be some good teams here that Auburn's going to have to get through to be able to punch their ticket back to NCAA tournament national championship out in California. But they'll have number 12 Texas A&M, number 13 UCLA, number 24 SMU, number 25 Georgia Tech, and then you'll have Oregon, Purdue, Little Rock, TCU, College of Charleston, New Mexico State, Loyola, Maryland, and USC Upstate. That's the teams that drew out for the Auburn regional here. So I've never been. When I worked at CAC, I went to some golf tournaments, regionals and district tournaments, and then a couple of national championship tournaments. It's fun. It's intense. It's a different feel when you're out there and those teams are competing at that level.
Well, great facility for us to host. It's a tough golf course. I think that helps when you're playing a golf course that you probably need to at least have some background with. Really favors the host team. So, yes, do get out there, Brett. Timelines will continue to pass along each morning as things get going when you can get out there, and the best time to probably show up out there. And hopefully a lot of the student base shows up and supports this team. They should.
Yeah, they should. So mark your calendar for that. May the 12th through the 14th, Auburn trying to get back to the national tournament, which would be May 23rd through the 28th in Carlsbad, California. So good luck to the guys. And again, we'll keep you posted on that here. All right. I mentioned something to you about Matthew Caldwell. That was released a couple of days ago, and we've been so busy and so much to talk about. We haven't had a chance to give our take on this. You and I saw him in high school. He was a former Auburn high school player. Went to Jacksonville State to start his college career. I think he went to Gardner-Webb, if my memory serves me correctly after that, and then ended up at Troy last year and then was thrust into action due to some injuries. And here's his numbers. I mean, 1,608 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, threw 8 interceptions. He's a big kid. I mean, he's 6'4". I don't know how big a news adding a 4th-string quarterback is to your room, but, Coach Freeze has made it a point to say that he wants 4 guys in that room, and it's probably more from a preparation situation, an older guy that can talk, strategy. That's just another guy to talk about film study with. If you're Jackson Arnold or Deuce Knight or Ashton Daniels, those 4 guys get in there and they look at plays and they go, what did you see here? It's just another guy in the room that's got experience that can give his take.
Well, if you're going to go out there and you're going to get a guy that has been and seen a lot of football and knows how to talk football, I'm sure, and was coached up as well as you can be coached up in high school, Should have won a state championship. That's a different story for a
Yeah,
different day.
they don't want that brought back up.
Brett and I broadcasted that game, by the way, and that state championship game is still and forever.
I'm still not over it, and I wasn't a fan of either team, and I'm still not over it.
It's hard to explain what happened, but that's neither here nor there. But he has bounced around and played a lot of football. But Brett, if you're going to go out there and you're going to get somebody, get a hometown product. Get somebody that'll appreciate coming back home and being a part of the program and being a part of Auburn University after playing at Auburn High School. I'm sure there's a lot of, teachers and faculty and administrators that are glad to see him head back home and be a part of that program. But I think you said the most important part is, can you add somebody with some experience that may just, it could just be one or two plays. It could be one or two key parts of the game that he sees that others may not see. And so, yeah, I think you see that a lot in the NFL when you see these quarterbacks that are backup quarterbacks that have the right emotional state and the right knowledge base to be a very good backup and one that they want in the room to help almost like a coach that's wearing a helmet from time to time. So this, I think, is a very good get for Auburn, and I'm glad to see him headed back home.
Yeah, and again, people say, well, why does he want to come here and be the fourth guy? Well, you ever thought about how and I haven't asked him this, so I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there, how cool it would be to put on the Auburn uniform and to say you played for Auburn, to say you were on the team. That's a that's a lifelong dream. I know you and I growing up would have loved to have played football at Auburn. From the time you were young or whatever, and then maybe it didn't work out, and then he's got a chance now to come join this football team and say, look, I get my role. I know where I'm at. I know what I need to do, and I want to come help this team however I can. And, we were talking about this yesterday with JJ at lunch, and JJ's like, you don't ever want to think bad stuff, but you never know when injuries creep in and stuff happens, and all of a sudden you're down to number 3. And let's hope that's not the case. But now you're a snap away from being the starter. And so I heard some people talk about how if you're going to go get another guy, this guy does have Division I experience, and he's been in the fire a little bit. He played at Iowa last year. I think that was his first start, so he had to go on the road to Iowa. So yeah, he's got some stuff that he brings with him, and he's a local kid that gets to come back home, like you said, and maybe be in front of some of the hometown patrons.
Well, it feels like we're doing a much better job of at least coercing local talent to stay at home. And I'm saying within, a 30 to 60 mile radius, whereas we used to lose a lot of those guys, not only to Alabama, but in and around to Clemson and many other spots. And it does feel like more times than not, we're able to win those battles and talk them into staying at Auburn. And I think the more that we move forward and the better that high school football gets here in the state of Alabama, more depth that we create in the recruiting talent here in the state of Alabama, I feel real good with Hugh Freeze and staff. I hope that it shows up on the field and wins this year. But I'm real happy with what we're doing as far as getting talent on board to hopefully turn this thing around.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that. You got guys that bring out their preseason polls, and we've already said on this show we're not buying into all that hype, and but as we move along and we cover this every day, this roster is a lot better, and it looks a lot different, and the schedule is manageable. I mean, it really is when you look at it. So, and I'm going to talk a little bit later on about depth and experience on this team, but really no excuses anymore. I mean, it's put up or shut up time, and I think Coach Freeze mentioned that numerous times in the spring. He's not running from that. He knows that it's time to win football games. And Randy, I think the future of Auburn recruiting will hinge on how well we do this year. I mean, because Faith and I broke down the top 10 last year and how Auburn dominated that, and the top 10 this year, and really nobody's made any decisions to this point outside of one guy, maybe two. I know Hezekiah Harris has already made it known that he's coming to Auburn, but there's another kid that's at Gaston City that's going to Alabama. But outside of that, everybody else is still up for grabs. So it's going to be a different playing field this year because Alabama got dominated. They didn't get a single top 15 player according to 24/7 last year. That's not happening this year. So what's going to hinge on who Auburn gets is now these guys moving forward. Like, oh, they got a great roster. How many games are they going to win?
Well, and look, you and me and Luke are on a text thread, and I was complimenting what you've seen from Alabama on the recruiting front, and just the opportunity for Alabama to hold on to the roster that they have was impressive. Look, as an Auburn fan, I would have liked to have seen 15, 20 of these guys get into the portal and bounce all over the place, and you get a sense that they're losing ground there, but that wasn't the case. So I think what you say is maybe more important than it would have been last year, is that Alabama is going to recruit this state, and they will try to change that storyline. But I've got all the confidence in the world with this coaching staff that we have. They're going to do the exact same, Brett. And look, I get asked all the time, and I know you do, because we cover some of the top recruits in the state with AHSA, but we also cover the top recruit in the state at the high school that you and I call. And I get asked, what do you think? What do you think about Sedarian? And look, you all and I'll speak for you right now. We have never overly talked to any kid that comes out of our high school on where they're going to go. I have no conversations with them. I have zero, and I'm not going to. I want them to end up going wherever they're led to go. And I'm just proud that as many of them as we have are getting offers all over the place. Spivey ends up with a Colorado offer yesterday. And so I think he's going to end up with 50-plus offers. But I'll never have a conversation with a kid locally. But I think what you say is dead on. Everybody's watching. You can't keep having losing seasons and get the number one recruit in the state. Not going to happen. I mean, they may love you, and they may love the coaching staff and the way that you're recruiting and the amount of money you're willing to pay them. Because I can assure you, but the number one recruit in the state is going to get that kind of money from 6 or 8 of the top paying colleges out there. It's not like he's just going to get the offer but Auburn's got to show up on the field and prove to people that we deserve to get the number one recruit year in and year out in the state. And I do think that our program does deserve that, but it's got to show up on the field and wins. And I'm beating a dead horse here. 4 straight losing seasons is not it's not something easy to go in there and sell these kids on, is it, Brett?
No, that's what I think. That's what I think about
and
the last 4 years.
I haven't talked to both of you, and I don't know if I'm going to guess Faith interviewed Tank Jones, but Tank Jones, I'm sure with St. Paul's was the same topic, wasn't it, Faith? I mean, he's probably watching very closely on how the teams in the state perform.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's being pursued by a lot of places and a lot, 2 of the best teams in all of college football. I mean, us not right now, but Alabama just staying on top of that, and having a winning record is super important because of the success that you want for yourself.
And look, we are the anomaly. Okay, I've said this. I said it yesterday. If you looked at the top teams last year, and then you look at the recruiting rankings, they correlated with the exception of one team, us. We had a losing season. We were not in the playoffs. We were nowhere near the playoffs. But there we were up there in the top in recruiting. People love Auburn. They want to come here. When they come here, it's a magnet. They love what we do. And they want us to win so badly. And I think there's a ton of those guys in that top 10, 15 in this year's coming up recruiting class that would love to suit up for Auburn. But they have watched 2 now solid years of recruiting. And they, just like the fans and the media and everybody else, want to see some results now. We don't need to go we don't need to go 6-6 or 5-7. We need to win 8, 9 ball games. And JJ and I talked about it yesterday on the lunchtime show. And you're just at put up or shut up time now. And we've broken this roster down. Faith and I are about to go down this list of depth on this football team from start to finish. The most experienced group, all the way to the least experienced group. Justin says, what does a mediocre kicker do the team last year? Or what does a mediocre kicker do to the team last year? Well, yeah, I mean, it cost us a couple games. Let's be honest about it. We had chances to put some games away, and we did not finish. But we had 5 games that could have gone either way. But also, it's a culture of figuring out how to win versus, sitting there holding on and waiting for something bad to happen. That Oklahoma game,
It's figuring out the offense because the defense held us in so much. And I think when, and you guys can say I'm wrong here, but when Gus was towards the last few seasons at Auburn, it was like the only points we were scoring were field goals, and we weren't scoring touchdowns, and that's just not what was happening. And then now in this new era of whatever Brian Harson's era was, and
I don't know what that is.
yeah, and Hugh Freeze
I
now,
don't know what that was.
we're not scoring the field goals as much, and it's almost like my dad and I were talking about it. It's almost like we were saying, dang, we can't even score touchdowns. All we do is score field goals. And then last year it was like, we can't even do that. So I don't know. I think last year you can't just blame it all on the kicker because of Alex McPherson getting sick and Towns having to step up way before he was ready. But it was the offense that had completely just fallen apart that we weren't able to finish out on. And I think it's not just the kicking part that we can blame the last year on.
Oh,
I agree.
nope.
And that hasn't been the problem.
No.
Outside of last year, Auburn's always put a great kicking game out there. And
having the Carlson brothers leave had to be probably one of the saddest times for Auburn fans as a whole.
They got any more of those coming? We talk about that in that pipeline. Don't see any more of those coming in the future. But, I mean, look, Alex McPherson's back. We're excited about that. I think he is going to add. And, look, I like Towns Magoo. I mean, the guy just got thrown into the fire last year. He, let's just credit that. So, yeah, there was a lot of things that contributed. And there were some bad coaching decisions. Let's be honest about it. In certain points of games, play calling played into that and put the team in. Look, I don't care what there's times to run a RPO, right? And it's called an RPO because you have a run pass option. But at certain point in times in the game, when you have a lead, the P part of that is eliminated. All right, it doesn't matter I don't care what it is. If there's 19 people on the line of scrimmage, I mean, you run the ball, man, and you punt it and play field position because they had not moved the ball at all outside of 1 or 2 big plays in that game. And with 4 minutes to go in the game, you punt the ball and you make them drive down the field. And instead, you throw a ball right to a guy and he runs it back for a touchdown. So you just got to be better at your decision making. And that's another thing that Deuce Knight talked about post A-Day, that he made some mistakes in that scrimmage. And he said, look, I know what I did wrong. I know what I did. So I'm going to work on that. And I think sometimes simple may be better. You don't have to complicate things at the line of scrimmage, man. You saw several teams in the NFL kind of do that with their strategy. Instead of overcomplicating and doing all this stuff, man, they just said, look, we do this well, and we're going to ride with this. And Jason Caldwell said it. We finally got an offensive line where we feel like we can go in there if it's 3rd or 4th and short inside the 10-yard line and say, okay, we can just go get this instead of having to dial up the most perfect play.
We'll see. I mean, red zone offense has been probably the worst statistical category for Auburn. I know it was last year, but it feels like it's been that way for quite some time. I know we were dead last in red zone offense, scoring offense. So it's got to be fixed. And a lot of that's just being able to do the basic things well, like run the football when you need, and also have a quarterback that keeps you off balance. And, I'll keep saying this until I'm proven wrong and Jackson Arnold's named the starting quarterback, and Jackson Arnold may be that answer. But my eyes tell me Deuce Knight brings an element to the offense that we haven't had in quite some time. And if he ends up with a starting job and we end up close to the same amount of wins, I'd rather go ahead and roll with him than the alternative. But we'll see how all that plays out. I'll step aside, y'all. Busy day out there today. Stop by and see us if you're in the Auburn market or coming through Dable, Lee Apparel and Sign Source. 256-825-0197. We can start your next corporate apparel promotional project, or from signage from start to finish on vehicle wraps to lighted signs to digital boards. 256-825-0197.
All right, brother. See you, man.
Bye, Randy.
All right. Some more partners here, and I'll let you get a sip of water, and I'm turning it over to you.
Sensagreen, for air that's cool and clean. Call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier dealers for the state of Alabama and a proud supporter of the Auburn Athletics and the Auburn Blitz podcast. It's hot outside. It is warm, humid, and gross. So making sure that you get a new carrier unit installed by Sensagreen, they're going to save you thousands of dollars, and nobody wants to save money quite like we do. So Sensagreen is going to help you out with that.
Every penny, trust me.
Yep.
It all matters. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm in Birmingham, Alabama, but they serve all over the Southeast. Call on them. Don't try to do it yourself and try to manage this multi-million-dollar project. You need to hire them. From the pre-construction phase all the way to the finished product, Scout Program Management will take care of you. Call on them. That's what they are there for, and they do an outstanding job. Been around those guys a long time, and they do outstanding work. Bunkers in downtown Auburn.
Bunkers is the place to go if you have any sort of just need to get out and kick it with some friends. They've got a wonderful bar and awesome food, great service over there. And if you want to go and rent one of the golf simulator bays, you can, not just for golf, 27 other sports. They've got great happy hour deals for drinks, and honestly, it's just one of those places where you can just roll in and hang out and have a good time.
It's a great place and plenty of parking spots. Friends of ours last night, it was his birthday. So BT, happy birthday to you. And their family went to Bunkers, sent some pictures over. They were having a great time. Great time at Bunkers last night. I was jealous. Wish I was there. But glad they had a good time. You go out and check out Bunkers if you have not done that as well. Justin said the potato area. Yeah, that set us back quite a bit with Brian Harsin. So we've put that in the rearview mirror, and now we look at our roster from start to finish, and we'll go Auburn's least experienced to most experienced position group, Faith. And so 10 down to number 1. If you look in this, if you want to break it down the way we've got it broken down, running back is number 10. Running back is our least experienced position. When you look at total snaps, starts, and all that kind of stuff, you're basically going by starts, total starts. But you look at total starts for our running backs, and there's only 4. And the most experienced player in the group is Darrell Robinson, who just got here, and he's got all 4 of the starts. So he's coming in from UConn. Nobody has started at Auburn, but you've got a talented running back group. I think when you look at Damari Alston and Jeremiah Cobb, and then Darrell Robinson, and then the true freshman Alvin Henderson. So you got some really good guys, but you just don't have a lot of experience in that room.
Yeah, that's something that we've said has been a problem, is the experience in certain positions. So
are you concerned at all about, like we've talked about the quarterbacks and the receivers? Is there a little concern about our running game? Now, it seems like, and we'll get to the offensive line in a little bit. Are you concerned with our running back situation? Because it just hasn't been talked about a lot, because the receivers and the quarterbacks and all that have garnered majority of the attention.
yeah, I think I talked to you about it not too long ago, just because I saw something it was an interview with Damari, and he was kind of saying that he's ready to make his kind of big break. And we saw last year how he just going down with the ball, it would get loose. And I mean, the amount of fumbles and interceptions last year with just going back and forth from the offense was a huge problem. And so I think, him being able to acknowledge that was a big step in the right direction. I I said this a few weeks ago. We were running back university when we had Tank and Jarquez and just those guys who, I mean, are playing in the NFL and those kind of things. So I think this has kind of been the first.
We've
First,
been comfortable. We've been comfortable.
I think.
Just a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, I'm glad that he stayed. I was thinking maybe he would hit the portal last year, but he stayed. So I don't know. I think yes, I am a little unsure of it all, but I think if we can see him kind of, and I wasn't at A-Day, but I think if he can kind of get it to the point where he's going down and holding the ball. I said that, I saw him and he didn't stop his feet. And that was something that I also noticed with him was that, he just, once somebody hit him, they were able to take him back. He wasn't pushing forward. And I think he is such a big guy and a big unit of just a bowling ball of muscle, that he has the potential to go forward after getting hit. And I think I saw some during spring practice that he wasn't stopping his feet, and that was a huge stepping stone for him to kind of, I don't want to say be better, but improve.
Well, that is the goal.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Running back by committee. Let's just say that. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities. You're going to have Damari Austin there as your starter, and then Jeremiah Cobb and Darrell Robinson coming in behind it. But this is the least experienced group on the team.
Yeah.
But you got to run the ball, and you got to run it well in this league if you want to be successful. All right, number 9 on the list is linebacker. Only 15 total starts. I mean, you've got DeMarcus Riddick coming back. I really like that kid. I think he's got all SEC, All-American potential. Just a great skill set, very fast, very physical guy. Was a 5-star guy coming out of high school. Saw him numerous times in both, on the football field and the basketball court. But then you add a guy that hasn't played much but's been waiting in the wings, and Robert Woodyard. And then after that, you just have a lot of guys that either transferred or freshmen. JJ Fault looks good, but he's a freshman. Elijah Melendez looks good, but he's a freshman. DJ Barber, redshirt freshman. Bryce Dees, freshman. You got Xavier Atkins who transferred. He's a redshirt freshman. So you just look down, and then you add Caleb Wheatland. He is the most experienced of the bunch, and we just got him out of the portal. And he brings a ton of experience from Maryland. Started 12 games, has over 800 snaps under his belt. So, Faith, you and I talked about that last week. Adding him to this roster in this position group, there's talent there. We're not saying there's not good talent. We're talking experience. Now you add another veteran guy in there that can really, when you look at film study and stuff, he's going to be able to bring some valuable insight.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
Where you see, Bub?
I was thinking the same thing.
All right. I'll let you go down to the next position group at number 8.
Yeah, at number 8, it's safety/nickel. Total starts 23. And the most experienced player is Caleb Harris.
And that's a very, very good player right there.
Yeah, he is. He's a sophomore with 6 starts. So I think from what we saw from him last year, the progress made by him to this year is going to be a lot, and he's going to be a stud.
I agree. I definitely think he's a big time NFL player in the future.
Yep.
Also at that, again, here's another situation, Faith, where we're not talking about talent. Talent's there.
Right.
But we're talking about experience, and Caleb Harris is the most experienced guy, like you said, but then you're going to have Champ Anthony, whose season was cut short last year due to the leg injury. He'll be back, but then you got freshmen behind those guys. You got Eric Winters, you got Anquan Fagans. I mean, we're high on all those guys.
But those freshmen, they don't have the experience. When we're talking about going in the portal and getting guys that are older and have more experience,
that is the point. So 8 is safety nickel, but if you're look, I feel good about that position, even though it's at 8. All right, 7 is tight end. What's your thoughts there? You and I have been talking about this position. It's kind of flown under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, it has. Brandon Frazier was hurt, and he's a senior, but the most experienced player we've got with 22 starts is Preston Howard, and
he's a transfer.
Redshirt junior. So I don't know. I think, especially at this position, Luke Deal just signed a mini camp thing. But when's the last time that we've had a tight end that has been?
Is it CJ Uzoma?
Yeah, I mean, but
really?
It's been a long time that we've had somebody that's really talked about, and
that was 12 or 11 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
2014.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that is a long time ago.
We've had some droughts in some positions.
And I think this has been one that, honestly, like, I feel like ever since seeing how much of an impact Brock Bowers was at Georgia, that's kind of where I started seeing more of, all right, why aren't we doing this with our tight ends? Why? So I think that's why I kind of started thinking and seeing it a little bit differently.
I'm with you. I think, though,
if Georgia can do it, why can't we? Come on,
we can. We just need to get some guys to stay healthy, a la Brandon Frazier. So, like what he's able to do if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6. This is a position that we're high on.
Yes, defensive end edge. Most experienced player, Keldrick, obviously. 20 starts. I mean,
best player on the team, wouldn't you say?
Yep. Best player on the team, for sure. Everyone's talking about how he's one of the 6th depth or whatever.
One of the odds-on favorites to be the number one overall pick.
Yes, number 1 overall pick. And he shows that he should be that, especially going we're talking about media days coming up, and him going last year as
he has to go
into his sophomore year.
Has to be another pick. He has to be making the trip again. I mean, how do you not?
I hope
how do you not bring him?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. But a lot of talent there. Bringing in some guys as well. Some young guys are going to have a chance to make an impact in the depth chart. And again, you see a guy that we didn't see a lot of last year in Morris Williams. He's extremely talented, and really talked about how Keldrick helped him, learn this position and get better as a player. He jumped in the portal briefly last year and then came back out. I thought it was one of the best saves for Auburn, being able to coerce him back. Let's talk about some more of our partners, then we'll get to the top 5 most experienced position groups on this team, and Sure Shot in Alex City.
Sure Shot right up 280 from Auburn, right in Alex City. They've got the best firearm apparel and hunting deals, and they will fulfill all of your needs in those areas. They sell and trade new and used firearms. So calling Scott at 256-329-0080. Scott is going to be able to help you with literally everything. Girls, if you need to go there and get some experience with shooting a handgun to make sure you stay safe, Scott's going to be able to help you do that and teach you when to use it, how to use it, and keep yourself safe, but also, know when to use it properly if you ever are in a position that you need to use it.
Hopefully you never will be, but you need to be prepared if you are. For sure. Oliver Ross.
Your party from 20 people all the way up to 20,000 people. If it's work convention, anything like that, summer's coming up. There's a lot of, busy different schedules that people are going to have. So calling on Oliver Ross to take care of all of your bartending needs. They're certified and licensed bartenders. So they're going to be able to help you and make sure that you can focus on the entertainment and they can focus on the bartending.
Yeah, call them 256-496-2212. Check out Oliver Ross, our good friend Mark. They do a great job there. All right, to number 5 on the position groups, most experienced position groups. Here are the top 5.
We've talked about this position a lot, the wide receivers, with the most experienced player being Eric Singleton, and he's a transfer with 22 starts. It's a young room, and we've said that since day one when we got the Freeze 4 last year. They're all freshmen, so they don't have the kind of experience, and that's why we needed to bring in Eric Singleton and Horatio Fields to kind of add some experience and depth into that locker room.
2 huge pickups in the portal. The commonality of what we're seeing in this thing, Faith, is Darrell Robinson, transfer portal. Caleb Wheaton, transfer portal. Preston Howard, transfer portal. Eric Singleton, transfer portal. In the next position group, same thing, transfer portal. At defensive tackle, we just added James Ash. He's the most experienced defensive lineman because he's had 22 starts over his career. He's coming from Florida A&M, but you and I talked about that for a month, didn't we? About adding pieces to the defensive line. So we add that piece and add a couple more, and defensive tackle all of a sudden is one of your top 5 position groups when it comes to experience. We didn't have a lot of bodies in the room, not as many as we wanted, but we made that adjustment and made good on that here in the second portal window, able to go out and pick up a couple more guys.
Yeah. At number 3, we've got the quarterback, and this is probably to no surprise, Ashton Daniels being the most experienced player with 20 starts. Again, he's a transfer, and you've got Deuce Knight, who's a freshman coming in, so that's a no-brainer. And then Jackson Arnold, who is a junior transfer, but we saw last year at Oklahoma how he wasn't playing that much up until the Auburn game. So
yeah, right. So got benched, then came back toward the end of the season, had a big win against Alabama, and then got in the transfer portal, and again was a 5-star plus guy coming out of high school, got all the talent in the world. So love the quarterback rooms, got a lot of talent in there, just not your third string guy's got the most experience. So
yep.
We'll see how that plays out. Number 2.
And then number 2, we've got the cornerback with Rayon Strader being the most experienced player with 25 starts. And again, that's another transfer, junior transfer.
Right.
So ahead of him, there's Jay Crawford, and he's a sophomore.
But he had a heck of a year this past year.
Yeah. And then behind him, redshirt freshman, and then another freshman. So again, young guys there.
Absolutely. And then at that other cornerback position, Kayan Lee gets the start. We know when you look across the board at our starters, if these were to be the starters, Faith, Kayan Lee and Crawford at the corners, Sylvester Smith at free, Caleb Harris at strong, and then you add Champ Anthony, a healthy Champ Anthony there at nickel, and then you got what we have backing those guys up.
Yep.
The depth is really, really good. It's maybe one of the best defensive back rooms in the entire country. Now, I know we've got some things to prove, but talent-wise, it may be one of the best in the country. But, yeah, that's number 2. And then drum roll, please. And I think both of us will have something to say about this. Number 1, Faith.
Number 1, the offensive line, with Dylan Wade having the most experience with 37 starts. He's a senior transfer, but he's been at Auburn.
Forever.
Yeah. So the offensive line, you would think that being the most experienced position.
Well, there's really no excuses anymore now.
Right.
All right, your most experienced group on the entire team is the offensive line. And they have 105 total starts under their belt. 3 of those guys that are going to be starting, maybe 4, were here and have been here forever, in Connor Lew, Dylan Wade, Jeremiah Wright, if you want to add Too Tall in there. But then you go out in the portal and you add Mason Murphy and Chaplin. And both of those guys were big-time players at their schools, Virginia Tech, USC. And then, I'm not going to go through all the depth, but you finally have an offensive line that you can look to that's the most experienced. You cannot use that as an excuse anymore to not get things done offensively. So that, to me, is the biggest storyline going into the season, is that your most experienced position group's has been a weakness for you for a while. We saw it get a little bit better last year, but Faith, it's got to be something that this Auburn offense leans on this year. They've got to lean on this experience.
And what I'm saying right now is that I'm going to freak out if our quarterbacks are running for their lives when the offensive line is the most experienced guys on the team, some of the oldest guys. In our court, if God forbid, if it's Deuce Knight, I don't know who it's going to be. But if Deuce Knight, the little freshman, is going to be running for his life, and these guys aren't doing their jobs, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, I think you and everybody else. So, there it is. Just remember what we talked about here today on May the 1st, when we're in football season, and we look at each other and we go, what's the most experienced part of the team? It is the offensive line. Justice a little bit behind, but Fairweather was good his first year. Yeah, there's no doubt. I thought he came in and, he filled a void that we had, and maybe a little bit of a step back last year. I was expecting maybe a little bit more than we got from him. I remember 2 years ago he made the play that probably helped us win the Cal game on the road. He makes that catch falling down, and then had a couple more big catches. And, I thought Fairweather was a very difficult guy to defend because he was like an oversized receiver. He had a little bit better speed than your normal tight ends, and so he created matchup problems. He had times where he struggled catching the football. Was this past year, maybe not so many, not so much 2 years ago, but this past year, I remember him in some key situations, Faith, trying to move the chains. He just dropped it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think also with being a tight end, the blocking that you're expected, that's a huge part. And I don't think we saw a lot of that.
No.
And from any of the guys, but that's a huge part on, also protecting your quarterback, but also, letting plays play out by doing some blocking as a tight end. So
That's it.
I don't think we saw too much of that.
No. I know this is not topic of Auburn, but you and I talked about this yesterday, and everybody's talking about this. How weird is the Bill Belichick and his girlfriend interview thing? I just had to bring that up because, man, it is like everybody's talking about it, and you and I talked about it, and it's like, it's just like this North Carolina experiment's going to be. Do you see it being a train wreck?
I'm excited to watch how it plays out.
Is she the coach or is he the coach?
That's what I was gonna say. Who's controlling all of this?
I mean, it's a little bit embarrassing, right? We saw the clip. Oh, we're not answering that. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, you're coming from a man's perspective, so that's embarrassing for the guy. For the girl, she just sounds manipulative, but I think we all kind of knew that looking at the situation.
Yeah, I
pretty much,
mean,
but whatever.
anybody surprised? You know, she's 24 and he's
Yeah, she's
74,
2 years older than me.
and he's 74. I mean, just think about that a little bit.
I wonder what my dad.
Like, what was the big deal? They acted like that was such a daunting question. Hey, where'd y'all meet? Oh, we're not answering that. Why? What's the problem? And then he comes out and releases this statement. The University of North Carolina official statement. Just said, y'all think she's really 24? I don't know, man. But this
She
statement,
looks 24.
yeah, but it was so canned. Oh, and everybody knows we met on a plane on the way to Florida. No, nobody knew that because
I didn't know that.
everybody was asking that, dude. And I don't really know why anybody really wants to ever interview Bill Belichick anyway, because he's a terrible interview. He's an a-hole when it comes to answering questions, and he tries to, oh, you don't know that already? Okay. I mean, it's just the way his tone is like, and it's all 2-3 word answers, and it's like, it's not interesting, dude. Just don't.
You don't
waste your
know?
time.
You don't know?
He goes,
No. That's why we're
I'm on
asking.
and they're like, and the guy asked him about all those social media pictures, and he said, yeah, I'm on all those social accounts. I'm like, that ain't what he
Face to
asked, dude.
face.
Yeah, but that ain't what the guy asked, dude. He's trying to, and then he's over there doing this. She's sitting over here, and he's going, should I answer that? Should I answer that? I'm like,
Because she's the one talking for him. Come on.
what an embarrassment. Anyway.
Whatever. That's not our problem. That's not our school.
Yeah, it's not, but I had to bring it up because it's a joke. All right. Justin said, I'm early, but I think I'm getting on the Auburn hype train. Justin, we've been through this. He's got a good we get sucked in about May, June-ish. And the last season's far enough in the rearview mirror. We've been through spring, we've gotten re-energized. I've told you, and I'm gonna stick with it. I'm Missouri. The show me state. You're gonna have to show me. And I just we do this every year. I mean, it's like a fish out there swimming, and they say, okay, I'm not biting that bait. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. And they go, maybe it doesn't have a hook in it this time. And you go there and bite it and you get caught again. So it just feels like we do this every year. I think all we want is for us to actually play well and get over the hump and get back to a competitive team and quit losing games at the end and try to figure out a way to win games. And it starts with the Baylor game.
Amen.
It's going to be fun, I hope. It's going to be a fun trip.
I hope so.
Better be. We're going to be on fumes. Leaving a high school game, jumping on a red-eye plane to get out there and then covering a game and then coming right back. But it will feel good to have kind of your Saturday and Sunday to just kind of chill. Maybe
watch some football.
Yeah, after a win, right?
After a win.
Justin, you're right. We need this. We need a good football year. Basketball, golf, baseball right now. Baseball's playing well. They've got a big series with Tennessee coming up this weekend. So we'll be talking about that as we come. 3 series left, and that's it.
I can't believe it. Seriously.
Baseball season will be to a close. I think we've got Tennessee, South Carolina, and Ole Miss left. That's the 3 left. So, wow. Softball playing their last series this weekend against NC State. They're done. Yep. So, but they've got a high. I mean, they've got a chance to have their name called when the NCAA tournament selection. So, even though they haven't got the best record in conference play, they played maybe the hardest schedule in the country. So, we're used to that at Auburn, right? Is that mandatory in every sport? We have to play the hardest schedule. Can we figure that out? Can we?
Not in basketball, I don't think.
Man, just everything.
Well, I guess I'm thinking about the tournament. So
yeah, talking about the tournament. All right. Before we get off, old number 1 Customs.
Guys, don't make your wife hate you. Seriously. Don't DIY it for 2 years. Get it done in 2 weeks with Old Number One Customs. They're gonna be able to transform your kitchen in 2 weeks, and nobody wants to see their kitchen destroyed when you have guests coming over. So get it done by Old Number One Customs in just 2 weeks. They're gonna be able to take care of you and really, turn your kitchen into a beautiful, beautiful kitchen.
I say this all the time when you bring this up. Like, why do you put yourself through all that? Like, people that think they're a carpenter and they really have zero skills at all, and all they do is go in there and make a bigger mess and destroy it
Ruin it.
and
Don't
just
do
and
that.
make it worse. So call Old Number One Customs 334-752-6162. Don't wait around. Got financing options. You don't have to put any money down, and they'll be out of your house in 2 weeks. You think you can actually fix something in 2 weeks? Wake up. There's no way.
There you
Go call them, JFA Blue Plumbing.
Hey, for that Home Atlas water filter duo, JFA is going to be able to transition the water that is coming out of every single drain pipe, whatever pipe in your house. Faucet. There we go. Hello. Come on.
Drain pipe.
It's still morning.
That's
Come
going
on.
out. Drain pipe is going out.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Brett, leave me alone. That's going to make sure that, whether you're showering or you're putting water in your dog bowl, everything is going to be filtered water with them. So call on JFA. If I can remember it, you can 844-JFA Blue, and they're going to take care of you so you can have some healthy, safe drinking water.
I mean, $15.99 is a very small amount of money to pay
for your health.
I mean,
your health is priceless.
What's your doctor's bill going to be if you don't drink clean water? So keep that in mind. All right. All right. Good stuff, everybody. We appreciate all the comments and interaction. Yep, Glenn. I think the football meeting was yesterday at 6, Glenn. Justin wants to know if we are going to the SEC baseball tourney. We actually have not discussed that. We have got such a packed schedule for the month of May. We may try to make that trip. We'll see.
Yeah, I've been looking at it, and I'm going to try to see.
There's just so much going on.
Because we've got a busy.
Speaking of that, we'll be on location tomorrow if you want to tell everybody where we're going to be.
Guys, we're going to be at Baumhauer's. Please pull up. Come to Baumhauer's.
Absolutely.
The first 10 people that come are going to have gooey fries on us. Everybody knows.
How awesome is that?
Everybody knows how good their gooey fries are, because when it's the last 8 minutes of the basketball game and the other team is going up to shoot free throws, everybody's chanting gooey so that they miss it. So the student section can get free gooey fries. Well, guess what? You guys can with the Auburn Blitz. If you come and say Auburn Blitz but it's got to be when we are there. So anytime from 11:30 to 1:30. If you come, say Auburn Blitz and get your gooey fries on us.
There you go. I mean, why wouldn't you show up?
Why wouldn't you? Hello.
Why wouldn't you show up? So we're excited about that, and we're going to be all over the place. We already have that. We've been all over the place, and we're going to keep going all over the place all the way through football season. So exciting times. But yeah, we'll check on that, Justin. We are trying to work our schedule out. There's a lot of, we want to be at the regional golf tournament as well. That would be awesome. Love Coach Kleinert and this team, and he's a big fan of our show and been on our show a bunch. So we really appreciate him and the relationship we have with him. So we're pulling for those guys, talking about that to start the show, and we'll be keeping everybody posted. They actually start May the 12th. So a lot going on. Spring is super, super busy. So
no downtime.
No downtime. No rest for the weary. Yep. Time to.
She said there's no downtime.
Yeah, and the helicopter took off. All right. there you go. That lets you know this time to go. Time to go. Right on cue. That's our cue to get off. But again, thanks to everybody that has subscribed. If you have not done that, go hit that subscribe button, like, spread the word. If you love our content, we really appreciate all of you for helping us grow when we are rocketing toward our next 1,000th milestone. Where are we subscribers wise? I need to pull that up and look at it just to kind of give everybody. Yep, we're at 4,800 now. So really, really appreciate everybody out there. So getting close to that 5,000 mark, and just keep that word going. We appreciate all of you so very much. All of our partners, everything out there. Everybody have go do something good today.
Best day ever. You didn't even let me say it.
No, I stopped to let you say it. I was saying everybody to go do something good.
Yes, be nice, be kind, have the best day ever.
And a big old
War Eagle.